It seems like there are now an infinite number of streaming services. Netflix, Hulu, Prime Video, HBO Go, YouTube, the list goes on. And it's still growing. Virtually every tech giant, media house, and production company wants a piece of the streaming pie, and you can't really blame them. Streaming is a form of a subscription-based business model. Subscription-based businesses have grown in popularity within recent years. Why? It's a guaranteed revenue stream. Instead of selling you a product once, companies can now sell you access to the same product or form of media again and again and again for a monthly or yearly fee. But with so many streaming services popping up, you have to ask yourself, can all of them be viable? The simple answer seems to be no. It's basic economics, supply and demand. Over time, the market will eventually become saturated, leaving room for only a few key players. It's no wonder everyone is now getting into streaming. The game is still pretty early, and there's still massive opportunities to grab up market share. We haven't decided on the big winners just yet, but we're getting close. There's also something here to be said about the nature of media. In the age of exponentially growing information and content, attention is a scarce resource. We only have so much attention and so much time. The winnings will likely fall to companies that can capture the audience's attention, the companies that can constantly create high-quality, original, and exclusive content. That's why we've seen Netflix spend billions on original content. Disney and Apple recently entered the Hunger Games, the streaming wars, and there's something that feels different with these two companies compared to the rest. Disney, after all, is a billion-dollar entertainment empire. Apple, on the other hand, is a trillion-dollar tech behemoth with access to billions of connected devices that live in people's pockets, but are more frequently glued to their eyes. These companies aren't trivial. There's been a lot of speculation on if and how these two companies will compete against each other and against current market leader Netflix. They both have serious competitive advantages and unique niches when it comes to streaming. The case for Disney. On April 11, 2019, at its annual Investor Day held in Burbank, California, Disney revealed significant details on its highly anticipated streaming service, Disney+. As many of you hardcore Disney fans out there would know, this service was unveiled by CEO of the Walt Disney Company in November 2018. Disney's significant competitive advantage comes in its ownership of a colossal catalog of content, a catalog of the most iconic characters from the most beloved brands and franchises on the planet. In 2018 alone, Disney grossed over $7 billion at the global box office. Perhaps what's most impressive though is that the majority of revenue was generated by only 3 films: Infinity War, Black Panther, and Incredibles 2. Marvel, Star Wars, Pixar, and National Geographic, all slated to be on Disney+. Disney's recent billion-dollar acquisition of 21st Century Fox has expanded its portfolio, giving the company ownership of characters like The Simpsons, Deadpool, and X-Men, just to name a few. But perhaps even greater than the ownership of these iconic and beloved characters, at the heart of it, Disney owns iconic stories, some of which have practically etched themselves into the fabric of reality. Disney is a master at storytelling, having refined the art since the company's inception. Disney stories move us. They form deep emotional ties. They provoke, create suspense, take you to the edge of your seat, break your heart, crush your spirit, and put you back together again. And that's powerful. To take a page out of Disney's own book, it's magic. From a business perspective, there's also something that this does. It creates brand loyalty. It attaches your emotions and experiences to the brand of Disney. And since Disney has a story for multiple market segments and many demographics, this translates to huge economic returns in terms of Disney+. The company certainly has an advantage in telling original stories by taking many of the characters we know and love on brand new adventures every week on an exclusive and proprietary digital platform. Disney has already planned series like The Mandalorian, Monsters at Work, and Loki. And since a Disney TV series is effectively an emotional subscription within a paid subscription, it's sure to get a lot of people hooked. Again, it's a serious competitive advantage. Disney Plus will cost $6.99 per month and will be available on November 12th. On March 25, 2019, at its Apple Services event held in Cupertino, California, Apple unveiled its new streaming service, Apple TV Plus, as well as a few other unique services like Apple Arcade, Apple News, and the Apple TV app. Apple's new commitment to services comes with the recent decline in smartphone sales. Apple service revenue, by contrast, is growing. Apple has a number of unique advantages when it comes to streaming. Many of the company's core competencies are very different from Disney's and Netflix, and that creates for an interesting dynamic when it comes to streaming. For one, Apple is rich. Apple has just about $245 billion of cash on hand. In theory, Apple could easily buy several media companies, including Disney and Netflix for that matter. Again, this is just a theory. After all, it's like a recent article in The Verge stated, Apple buys companies at the same rate you buy groceries. Investing in storytelling. Apple has the resources to compete where it matters most. Apple can pay to produce original and exclusive content, and that's exactly what the company is doing. Apple has partnered with some of the highest profile celebrities and some of the greatest storytellers of our time. There were big names on the stage at the Steve Jobs Theater. Steven Spielberg, J.J. Abrams, and Oprah. Oh yeah, and did I mention Big Bird? Apple may not own iconic stories just yet, but the company is investing in creating new stories. Apple is investing in iconic stories created by master storytellers with equal ability of moving you emotionally. Spielberg, Abrams, and Howard have written, directed, and produced some of the most influential films of our time. Jaws, Jurassic Park, Star Trek, The Da Vinci Code, The Grinch, Star Wars, Solo, Raiders of the Lost Ark. Some of these things belong to Disney. Owning a platform, Apple is the new TV provider, or the new TV curator. Apart from its deep pockets, Apple also has incredible leverage in the form of its platform. Apple has ownership of the OS that runs on billions of digitally connected devices. It's estimated that there are around 1.4 billion active Apple devices worldwide. These devices are a platform and a distribution channel. Talk about free advertising. The company can simply push its content to over 1 billion users, including its new shows. This can't be understated. This is a network effect. Fan bases ride on network effects. The more buzz that's created around a movie or TV show, the more people want to see it. In this way, Apple can control a narrative. The company can create its own buzz. Apple's new Apple TV app is quite the strategic move. In the age of information overload and subscription fatigue, Apple's now able to simplify things a bit by curating all of your content on a single app. Just to be clear, content in the Apple TV app can come from any of your streaming services, from your iTunes purchases or from your live TV subscriptions. Again, Apple has leverage in owning the platform. In order to really have your content and subscriptions managed, you'll have to pass through the Apple TV app, and perhaps through some of the suggested content from Apple TV Plus in the future. It's no surprise why Netflix has made the decision to stay off the platform. CEO of Netflix, Reed Hastings, stated, "Apple is a great company. We want to have people watch our shows on our services. Netflix simply wants control over its own narrative." Apple TV Plus, like Disney Plus, is expected to be available in the fall. There's no word yet on how much the service will cost. While we still may be early in the streaming game, we've certainly awakened the giants. Disney and Apple certainly are bringing compelling offers to the table. With Disney's active fan base totaling over 1 billion people, Disney Plus seems like a steal to many. Apple may be just starting out in terms of content. We still have a lot to see from the company on that end. Despite this, Apple still has a technological upper hand, and with its vast platform, the company can use its large data sets and cache reserves to create original content that it can push to users. Netflix at this point holds the majority of the market share and has the largest number of subscribers, over 139 million people. Hulu, on the other hand, is growing quickly, even outpacing Netflix. Amazon is making equally impressive investments. Most households subscribe to an average of 3 streaming services, so it's not a question of who will be the winner, rather than who will be the winners in the streaming game. We still have a lot to see in terms of streaming in the future, and we're still expecting a few more titans to enter the games. AT&T is expected to make an announcement on its streaming service in the fall. Let me know in the comments below, what's your 3 favorite streaming services so far?